My name is Lily Johnson. For 7 years, I stubbornly harbored a crush on Ethan. When Ethan seemed depressed and suggested we take an international trip to cheer up, I mistook it as his subtle invitation. I immediately used my annual leave to pack at home. But the moment I spotted him at the terminal, his text arrived, "Sorry, Lily. Lost my passport. Let's reschedule." He stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows looking haggard yet composed. Had I not witnessed him shredding our tickets into the trash can myself? Had I not heard him murmur "I'm coming" into his phone? I might have calmly accepted this. Instead, it felt like a blade splitting my chest, the pain stealing my breath. It resembled sprinting 3,000 meters only to have the referee announce at the finish line that the trophy was never meant for you. Exhaustion without recourse. I sat through the flight's departure time, replaying 7 years of memories, suddenly realizing I'd always been Ethan's contingency plan, entertained during his boredom, shelved during his busyness, always available, always disposable. My friend's words finally made sense. Lily, a doormat is still a doormat. Nobody treasures one. I began reevaluating our relationship. But the final straw came during that karaoke night, when someone proposed playing 32 points. I joined. Early wins soon gave way to losses. The group demanded I choose truth or dare. Fearing embarrassing questions, I picked dare, only to draw the hardest challenge, 7-day romance. My gaze instinctively flew to Ethan, only to find others doing the same. This was the humiliation of publicly obvious unrequited love. Under pulsing neon lights, the unspoken tension thickened. Just as fragile hope kindled in my chest. He took a slow sip of whiskey and gestured toward the newcomer at the door. "How about him?" Surprisingly, no anguish or rage came, just eerie calm. Later, I'd recognize this as closure. "Fine. I accept," I heard myself say before even seeing who he'd indicated. At the traffic light, Ryan pinched my cheek exasperatedly. "Lily, do you always obey him? What if I hadn't come tonight? Who'd be your make-believe lover?" I swatted his hand away, watching raindrops streak the window. No what-ifs. "You're here." Ryan, Ethan's nominated 7-day boyfriend, happened to be my childhood friend. After making waves as a police officer in City A, he'd recently transferred back to City Z. Ironically, my ill-fated connection with Ethan originated through him. That winter break when I delivered holiday groceries to Ryan's place, I found Ethan gaming there. Perhaps enchanted by his beauty, I impulsively invited him for barbecue. As noon approached, hungry Ethan grabbed his jacket and came. But when I barely started asking about his school, thugs began harassing us. Ethan took a beer bottle to the head, shielding me. "Stop crying. I'm not dead," the teenager muttered, moonlight eyes brittle yet defiant. That single glance bound me to 7 years of unrequited devotion. I'd believed I'd ultimately stay by his side. Ethan's temper drove away all suitors within 3 months. Yet I endured 7 years. Isn't persistence a form of privilege? "Free this weekend? Let's date." Ryan's casual question yanked me from memories. Remembering the 7-day romance farce, I massaged my temples wearily. "That was just a joke. Don't take it seriously." He raised an eyebrow. "Scared?" I arched a brow right back. "Trying to dare me?" Challenge accepted. To keep me accountable, my meddling friends created a group chat to monitor our daily check-ins with Ryan. The first 2 days were tame enough, dinner dates at specific restaurants, hand-holding by the riverbank. Then things escalated. Day 3 demanded we list 100 of each other's virtues. I tapped out at 30. Sprawled across my coffee table, scratching my head. Ryan snorted when he saw my pathetic attempt. "That hard? You tell me." I shot back, snatching his notebook. His sole entry made me choke. "Good appetite." I threw down my pen. "We're done." "Wait." He tugged my sleeve, that infuriating smirk reappearing. "I'll help you finish." His sudden meekness surprised me. Ethan never apologized first. I'd always cracked first, waiting hours or days for his sporadic replies, if they came at all. Exhausted, I face-planted into the couch cushions. "Do what you want?" Lock up when you leave. I drifted off instantly, waking hours later to a blanket over me and my phone exploding with notifications. The group chat had blown up with 1,000 plus messages. Ryan's photo dominated the feed, page after page of flamboyant script repeating "great stamina" 100 times. My stomach dropped seeing Ethan's name in the member list. His silence in the message storm felt louder than any notification. Unexpectedly, this arrangement with Ryan worked. Our childhood camaraderie had aged like fine wine, subtle yet comforting. He'd appear after work for movies and dinner, completing our tasks with impeccable timing before leaving at curfew. When day 7 arrived and Ryan asked to continue, I shrugged. Sure. My mom always said my best quality was adaptability, though this logic failed miserably regarding my Ethan obsession. Ryan inched closer with that trademark grin. Hug? I obliged. Only for him to cheekily add, how about a kiss? I swatted his face. Don't push it. He flashed his phone. Today's task required couples kiss photo with 200 yuan penalty looming. Standing on tiptoes, I steeled myself. Get it over with. Such enthusiasm. He mocked, hands settling on my waist. I expected dramatic refusal like romance novel heroes, but minty lips captured mine instead, slow, deliberate, leaving me breathless and clinging to him afterward. Wait. Wasn't this supposed to be a simple challenge? Ryan's ragged breathing mingled with mine. Our pressed bodies separated only by thin cotton. Through the fabric, I could feel his wild heartbeat thundering against my ribs. Seriously? Getting so worked up over a kiss? Ryan, I teased, remembering his past boasts about being a smooth operator. Why's your heart racing like this? My smirk froze when I looked up, his darkened gaze startling me. He arched an eyebrow, brushing his lips against my forehead. Don't play dumb, Lily. His gravelly murmur sent shivers down my spine as his mouth descended again. I shoved against his chest. Didn't we already? That was practice, he declared shamelessly. Didn't get photographic evidence. Right. The stupid dare. After he left, I splashed cold water on my face. The mirror reflected flushed lips and an irrepressible smile no amount of scrubbing could erase. My phone buzzed with group chat notifications. Ethan had sent red envelopes to stop the kissing dare frenzy. Within seconds, thanks boss. Messages buried the chaos. I played Ethan's voice memo. Stop bullying the girl. His velvet tone dripped with condescension. He'd been so certain I'd never kiss Ryan. Old me would have dissected this for hidden affection, crafting midnight texts with painstaking punctuation. Now, just exhaustion. Ethan's endless push-pull games had finally snapped whatever thread held us. The chat exploded again as Ryan bombarded it with kiss photos and a massive red envelope titled, "Treating everyone to wedding sweets." My DMs instantly flooded. That weekend at the T-University gym, Ryan transformed into basketball royalty. Each swish of the net earned me a ridiculous wink. His golden retriever energy equal parts cringy and captivating. Have mercy on us singles. Our friends groaned during halftime. Even quiet Big Brother Pan joined in. Last week I asked if he'd eaten lunch. Know what this punk said? How'd you know I'm dating Lily? Amid the laughter, I pinched Ryan's side. Dial it down. Will you? He caught my hand, eyes sparkling with mischief. Make me. The court lights haloed his sweat-damp hair as cheers erupted around us. Somewhere beyond the bleachers, my phone kept buzzing with unread messages, but for once, I didn't care to check. Ryan snapped to attention and saluted me with exaggerated seriousness. Captain, mission will be accomplished, he declared. I mentally rolled my eyes at this show off, though my traitorous lips kept twitching upward. This feeling of being openly acknowledged, sweet and not entirely unpleasant. Sorry we're late. A melodious voice interrupted. I turned to see Emma, Ethan's ex from their 2-week fling during college days. Her crop top and hot pants showcased endless legs as she trailed behind Ethan like an obedient puppy. The four of us standing together created instant tension. Ryan recovered first, slinging an arm around my shoulders. Took you long enough? Ethan. We're burning daylight here. Ethan murmured acknowledgement. Expression unreadable as he dropped his gym bag. His steps faltered momentarily when passing me, the first time I hadn't claimed my usual spot beside him. I focused on readying my sneakers, avoiding eye contact until the game resumed. Emma plopped down beside me with saccharine concern. So sorry. Lily. Heard Ethan stood you up that day because I needed help with my live stream equipment during a crisis. Hope we didn't ruin your plans? The revelation hit like a gut punch. Again. This wasn't the first time Ethan prioritized her over me. After senior prom when his parents' divorce turned ugly, I'd find him drunk at Royal Tavern after my shifts. Friends joked I was his on-call life raft ready to dive into any storm he created. That summer night when his father disowned him, Ethan clutched an empty whiskey bottle against my damp shoulder, slurring "No one loves me. Lily." I'd rub his back for hours crooning "I'm here." I thought we were teetering on the relationship cliff until the night I fell asleep on the bus after a double shift. Missed his call during a thunderstorm. Shivering outside the closed bar for 2 hours until Lucas texted, "Ethan's with Emma now. You okay in this weather?" Next day they were official. When asked why, Ethan shrugged, "She's comforting." 3 months of my devotion outweighed by 1 night of her performative care. The basketball whistle yanked me back. "Doesn't matter anymore," I told Emma, grabbing a water bottle for Ryan. But Ethan intercepted at the courtside, fingers brushing mine on the thermos. Our friends suddenly found the ceiling fascinating. "Lily." His intense stare demanded an answer. "Who's this for?" Ryan's hand closed over mine on the bottle. His police academy honed grip steady. "Pretty obvious." Ethan. This was given to me by my girlfriend." Those words snapped me to my senses. Without waiting to see Ethan's reaction, I hastily grabbed the water bottle and thrust it into Ryan's arms. "It's warm. You can drink it straight." Ryan took it, tousled my head approvingly, and shot Ethan a meaningful look. The latter's face darkened immediately. Thankfully, Emma caught up at that moment, handing him a sports drink with saccharine sweetness that made my own heart flutter. "Take a break," she cooed. Ethan snorted coldly, shoved his hands in his pockets, and grabbed a water bottle himself. Someone teased, "Ooh, playing hard to get now?" He glared but stayed silent, leaving Emma frozen mid-gesture with burning humiliation clinging to her face. The scene mirrored my own public rejection weeks before. Without Ryan's intervention that day, I shook off the thought as the second half of the game blurred by in anxious fragments. When I finally refocused, Ryan had already secured a 15-point victory. Ethan stormed off without ceremony. As others trickled away, I lingered under the maple tree watching magpies flit by the entrance, waiting for Ryan to finish paperwork with the venue staff. Suddenly, large hands cradled my face, turning me toward chilled lips that pressed sour hawthorn flavor against mine. "Still staring after someone who's long gone?" Ryan mumbled around the popsicle. I pulled back, grimacing at the tartness. "Why'd you pick this disgusting flavor?" The accidental double entendre only dawned on me when Ryan's fingers dug into my scalp in mock fury. "Damn right, I'm jealous." His breath warmed my ear. "Now fix it." This blunt honesty, so unlike Ethan's evasions, had initially unnerved me. At 24, I'd begun appreciating its raw clarity. Tugging his sleeve, I offered the untouched side of my popsicle like a peace treaty. "Apology accepted, Your Highness." He scoffed. "You're offering me my own purchase? Once given, it's mine to share." Ryan blinked, processing this flawless logic, before finally chuckling. "Touché." Ethan's radio silence stretched into weeks. Yet 7 years of memories refused to fade neatly. Each accidental mention by friends, every familiar trinket, squeezed my chest like overripe fruit. Guilt gnawed at me during late-night patrols with Ryan. How could I move forward while clinging to ghosts? One moonlit evening after foe, I confessed my turmoil. Ryan set down his chopsticks with uncharacteristic solemnity. "Lily, I know letting go takes time." His thumb brushed my knuckles. "But I'll wait. Just like you waited for Ethan." Like I've waded through every dumb crush you've had. We're both pathetic like that. His crooked smile returned. Besides, statistically speaking, one simp in this equation has to win eventually. Otherwise, what's the point of our entire generation? The argument proved dangerously persuasive. Hours later, clinking glasses at our favorite dive bar, I slurred through tears. Sullen the liquor. Ryan carried me home through crisp autumn air, my drunken sobs soaking his shirt. The memory merged with another from senior year, him drunk at our farewell dinner. Grip tight on Ethan's collar, if you ever hurt her. Back then I dismissed it as alcohol-fueled dramatics. Now, cheek pressed against his steady heartbeat, I wondered how many silent vigils he'd kept through my willful blindness. Lily Johnson. Please treat her well. Don't think she won't leave. And don't think I won't steal her. And how did Ethan respond? Whatever. When I woke up, there were 8 missed calls, all from Ethan. Only the last showed as declined, the others were probably drowned out by my loud ringtone. I wanted to wash my face before dealing with it. But the doorbell rang as soon as I reached the living room. Ethan stood silhouetted against the light when I opened the door. His outline blurred but the faint scent of cigarettes unmistakable. Why aren't you answering my calls? He demanded. Truthfully, in the past, I'd have crawled out of bed even at midnight if he called. Like that time I crossed half the city at 3 a.m. to hunt down painkillers from 4 pharmacies for his migraine. But now, I was asleep. What do you want? He pulled out 2 tickets. An uncharacteristic flush creeping up his neck as his usually icy voice stumbled. Didn't you want to see dolphins in Singapore? There's an exhibit here. We could go tomorrow. I stared, baffled. Was this his version of apology gestures? Every time I tried to walk away, he'd dangle some new bait. The same old cat and mouse game. Year after year. I was exhausted. Lily, what do you want for lunch? I opened my mouth to refuse. But Ryan's soft, husky voice interrupted from behind me. My surprise faded quickly after last night's drinking session. Him crashing here made sense. Ethan's face darkened as he glanced past me, lighting a cigarette with jerky movements. Still not broken up? He sneered, though his eyes burned with frustration. I frowned. None of your business. It came out petulant. So I steadied my tone. Ryan's good for me. We're. You think you know what's good? Ethan cut in, grinding the cigarette butt under his shoe. I didn't understand, he'd rejected me countless times. Why show up now? My patience snapped. Did you come here just to pick a fight? He faltered, tongue darting over his lips. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? My sharp tone silenced him. When he stayed mute, I slammed the door on his scowling face. My heart raced, not from sadness, but revelation. Rejecting him wasn't hard after all. Score 1 for me. A chuckle sounded behind me. I turned slowly, ready to ask Ryan about last night's blackout, only to freeze. The man stood shirtless, hair dripping suds, clearly having rushed from the shower to posture at the doorway during Ethan's visit. That calculated lunch comment suddenly made sense. You're ridiculous. I groaned, massaging my temples. He didn't deny it. Water trickled down his abs as he leaned close, droplets chilling my collarbone. Lily, he murmured against my ear, voice rough and tempting. Help me dry my hair? God. This man's lethal. Ethan called again a week later. I was limping through a subway transfer, new heels having shredded my feet, when his name flashed on my screen. Emma wants to get back together. I haven't decided yet. My breath caught. That familiar ache resurfacing. Why are you telling me this? There was a pause. His voice tentative. If you didn't want me to accept, no objections. I blurted. Then added quietly. I wish you both happiness. We'd hurt each other enough. Silence stretched before his disbelieving. That's it? Yeah. That's it. I'd expected the old knife twist pain hearing about his new relationships. Instead, nothing. The boy who'd once shattered me now felt like a stranger who'd wandered through my messy life. No expectations. No disappointments. Glass shattered through the phone. Lucas' muffled shout cut off as the line went dead. Let him rage. I wouldn't call back. Ethan kept reaching out. I dodged until that afternoon at the mall, hunting for Ryan's birthday gift. My friend and I were comparing watches when I turned straight into Ethan's chest. Drinks? He asked. Before I could refuse. His model-tier friends had my friend giggling about helping my love life. The restaurant's ambient jazz couldn't soften Ethan's abrupt declaration. I turned Emma down. I shrugged. There'd always be another Emma. He watched me eat, suddenly depositing fish in my bowl. Need practice, he mumbled, avoiding my eyes. This from the guy who used to wait for me to deb one his meals. I moved the fish aside. Not hungry? Seafood allergy. His chopsticks froze. The realization hit him like a physical blow. 7 years together. And he'd never known. Ethan, I said gently as he fumbled with bamboo shoots. Let's stop this. His eyes burned with desperate denial. I walked away before either of us could pretend otherwise. Ryan was waiting at my door. Knees drawn up like a kicked puppy. Meeting got cancelled. He pouted. Any chance my favorite 300-month-old baby boy could get fed? The street vendor's spicy broth warmed us both. Back home. Ryan produced roses from his trunk. Since you bought dinner. He grinned, shoving the bouquet at me. The petals smelled like new beginnings. At 18. I couldn't send you flowers. At 28. I'm taking you home. Ryan managed both. I accepted the bouquet, inhaling its fragrance while muttering. So cheesy, what's the occasion? Yet my traitorous lips kept curving upward. He chuckled, pulling me into a quick kiss. Since when do I need reasons to spoil my girlfriend? True, kindness needs no justification for those we cherish. Just as indifference requires none for those we don't. Before I could dwell on this, Ryan whipped out his phone. Smile for the camera. Babe. Not happening. I retorted out of habit. He grinned mischievously. Fine, I'll smile for you then. His arms wrapped around me as the shutter clicked repeatedly. Against his playful antics, I finally cracked, holding the flowers at the perfect angle with a peace sign. Later, reviewing the photos, I noticed every frame captured my genuine smile, the same radiant grin I'd worn at 15 whenever Ryan was near. I posted the best shot online, assuming my friends had long abandoned social media. Yet notifications flooded in immediately. Ethan. He'd visited my profile 7 times in an hour, systematically liking every post about him from the past 2 years, a brutal reminder. Look, Lily. See how desperately you once loved me. Scrolling through those cringeworthy posts, each carefully curated for a single invisible audience, I confronted the raw vulnerability I'd buried, the unrequited yearnings. The courage that burned brightest when reciprocation was impossible. For years, I'd clung to the delusion that Ethan simply didn't check social media. Moonlight streamed through the window as Ryan meticulously tended to my blistered feet, his care resurrecting memories of rainy nights when I'd believed myself unworthy of tenderness. Lily, can you come to Royal? Ethan's wasted. Lucas's text arrived with a photo. Ethan slumped in a booth. Phone clutched like a lifeline. He rarely drank heavily except during his parents' divorce. 9:45 p.m. Ryan needed rest before his police shift. Bringing him felt unfair, going alone felt worse. I forwarded Emma's contact. Next time, ask Emma. I'm done with this. The reply took hours. By tea time, only one notification awaited, a relationship article titled, "When did your crush finally die?" Not suddenly. My infatuation eroded through countless calculated distances and stubborn heart flutters canceling each other out. Earlier at the restaurant, Ethan's confession had cracked his usual composure. I've always loved you. Seeing his bloodshot eyes, I'd almost softened. You claim to love me. I'd countered. Yet never noticed I'm allergic to bamboo shoots. Those dishes were always for you. His stunned expression flickered with guilt. Lily, am I really that terrible? What could I say? That willful blindness to others' affection is cruel? But his only crime was never wanting me. If my feelings were just a one-sided delusion, Then what right did I have to blame him? I took a shallow breath, hesitating for a long moment before finally revoking Ethan's visitor privileges. Setting down my phone, I quietly watched Ryan tending to my injury. He'd barely returned to Z City these past 2 years. Yet every few months, I'd receive quirky little gifts from him, sometimes adorable hair clips, other times bizarre postcards. His absence felt permanent, yet his presence lingered everywhere. Miss Johnson, don't look at me like that. Ryan paused his ministrations, tilting his head after taking a steadying breath. I leaned back on the couch, dumbly asking why. In the warm lamplight, half his face glowed softly while the other half stayed shadowed. He pressed his lips together, those dark eyes holding mine before murmuring, "Because I might not want to leave." I blinked. Truth was, except for that drunken night, I'd never let him stay over. When I didn't respond, his trademark smirk reappeared as he leaned closer, breath warming my ear. "Can I stay tonight?" The consequences of that momentary weakness? Showing up late to work next morning and losing my perfect attendance bonus. Worse yet, Ryan started occupying my space faster than I could process. When I asked if we were rushing things, he trapped me against the bathroom counter, hanging his towel beside mine with a humorless laugh. "Last time I took it slow. Someone stole my chance." We both knew who he meant. I forced a chuckle and changed the subject. On Ryan's birthday, I gifted him a watch. His idea of celebration? Hiking. Muttering WTF under my breath, I reluctantly followed. Fate laughed at us halfway up the trail when I twisted my ankle. Ryan carried me down the mountain, my gratitude lasting until he whispered against my hair near the base, "I won't get tired. Not even by tonight." Back at the hotel, feeling his heat through our clothes despite my swollen ankle, I glared. "Could you be any more shameless?" The golden retriever of a man nuzzled my neck. "Special training starts month end. Won't see you for weeks." His gravelly plea melted my resolve. Soon, Ryan's presence saturated my life, fridge perpetually stocked, never with my allergens. Menstrual cramps banished by his ginger tea and hot water bottles. While moving, I discovered 2 years' worth of his Z City gifts filling an entire storage bin. When I asked how he kept sending hope across 500 miles, he simply said, "If I can't be close by, shouldn't I at least be consistent?" Memories of Ethan grew fainter. Like fireworks, brilliant but fleeting. Some people exist to teach life lessons. I just never expected pop quizzes. "Lily. ER at City Hospital. Come now." Lucas's message left me numb. "It's serious. Ethan was in a crash. With Ryan away training." I rushed over alone. The surgery stretched until moonrise. When the red light finally dimmed and Ethan stabilized, my entire body shook. The world had almost lost Ethan forever. Lucas Scott comforted me briefly before noticing my distracted state, suggesting we grab snacks from the convenience store. I nodded numbly, trailing behind him. "Lily," he said abruptly as we walked, "you should go back to Ethan. He's breaking down." His voice thickened when I kept staring at the pavement. "Want to know when I saw Ethan, the Chase family's golden boy, cry? When he realized you'd blocked him online. The guy who didn't even blink when he got 12 stitches? Sobbed like a kid over that." I froze. This shattered image of Ethan contradicted everything I knew. "This changes nothing," I said, watching traffic lights blur in the rain. "We've moved on." "Lucas." He pulled a dolphin pendant from his pocket, the chain pooling in his palm like liquid silver. My breath hitched. "He's sick. Lily." "Here." The trinket resurrected memories of college days, sharing Maydays, Noah's Ark. Begging Ethan for months to visit the aquarium. Cancelled plans piling up like unread messages. Was that why my fingernails bit crescents into my palms? The accident? Lucas' silence screamed confirmation. I spent that night staring at water-stained ceilings. Ryan found me still couch-bound at dawn, a duffel bag slipping from his shoulder. "Hey," the police cadet murmured, calloused hands cradling mine like porcelain. "We'll go together." His usual swagger dissolved into hesitant touches, adjusting my scarf, brushing hair from my eyes. At the hospital doors, he suddenly yanked my hoodie strings. "You're not. You won't." The unspoken "choose him" hung between us until he crushed his lips to my forehead. "Go on." Ethan's face lit up when I entered, then dimmed at my phone's lock screen. Ryan and me grinning at Coney Island. "Homemade?" he asked, eyeing the thermos. I remembered 3 years ago, burning 3 batches of oxtail soup before getting it barely edible, his words. Now I shrugged. "Bodega special." He flinched but kept sipping. I counted ceiling tiles while he dragged out each spoonful. "Your mom's arriving this afternoon," I finally said. "Ryan and I need to." "Need to what?" The plastic spoon snapped. "Playhouse?" "Pretend we didn't," his voice cracked. I studied the heart monitor's green spikes. Some love scorched too deep, friendship becomes salt on third-degree burns. Better clean cuts than slow poison. I let out a long breath, ignoring the accusation in his eyes, and pulled the necklace from my pocket to place on the table. "I won't be coming anymore," I stated with steady resolve. The air grew heavy as I grabbed my purse to leave. Ethan suddenly gripped my wrist, eyes red-rimmed. "Don't love anyone else, okay?" His trembling lips resembled fraying violin strings as he choked out, "Lily, I messed up. I took your devotion for granted. Kept testing you because I was terrified. My parents claimed to love each other too, until they chose others. I needed constant proof you wouldn't." His voice cracked into silence. Memories flooded back, vivid and raw. "So you rejected me repeatedly to see if I'd stay." I finished coldly. "Dated others to gauge my pain. Pushed me away to test my loyalty. In psychology, they call it avoidant attachment. Those damaged by childhood neglect struggle to form healthy bonds. I'd foolishly believed I could fix Ethan once. But healing broken souls requires unshakable strength I no longer possessed." "Sorry," he kept repeating like broken record. When I asked if he'd ever truly loved me, the question dissolved on my tongue. Pointless now. "Ethan, if your morning coffee suddenly stopped appearing, you'd miss it desperately. But that's not love, just entitlement to what you once possessed. Like that song says, you crave the spotlight of being wanted, not the person offering it. And its conclusion rings truer, when love becomes poison. Stop the torture." Ethan swayed dangerously pale, foreline tugging at his raw wrist. "Take it back," he begged desperately, arms locking around me. "Even if you don't love me, save me one last time?" His trembling against my neck mirrored the ache in my chest. Still, I only patted his back gently. "Let's both move on, Ethan." Ryan leaned casually against my doorway later, smirk in place. "Took you long enough," I growled, yanking his collar. He'd witnessed the entire hospital scene. "My bad." The childhood friend turned cop chuckled, not sounding remorseful. "We had a bet." At my glare, he shrugged. "Whether you still loved him." My fist connected with his shoulder. "You absolute jerk." Ryan just kept grinning. The infuriating bastard. Some things never changed, even if I had acted like a lovesick fool before. I never once considered going back after being with him. I had a whole tirade prepared. But Ryan pulled me into his embrace before I could continue. "I know how important Ethan was to you," he murmured, his voice low and tinged with vulnerability. "When he came asking why you hadn't broken up with me yet, you said I was suitable rather than claiming you loved me. So when I heard about his accident, I was terrified you'd choose him out of pity." His arms tightened around me. "Letting you go to him wasn't surrender. I needed to give you that choice. I swore if you picked him, I'd walk away with blessings. But if you chose me," my nails dug into his waist as I demanded. "Chose you then what?" "Then I'd never let go." I shoved against his chest, anger flaring. "Ryan, do you think this makes you some noble hero? Since when did love become transferable?" "A slightly noble idiot," he admitted with that infuriating grin, clinging like a barnacle. "Truth? The moment you walked into his room, I wanted to drag you back. If you'd said yes to him, I planned to sit right there bawling my eyes out. Let's see who you'd comfort first. The mental image of this 6-foot golden retriever of a man throwing a tantrum almost broke my composure. He nuzzled my neck shamelessly. Lily. I'm sorry. I'll kneel on a washboard later. You have no idea how scared I was watching you walk away. Thank God you saw through his tricks. My fist connected with his abs. But guilt tempered the blow. This vibrant, confident man had become so uncertain because of me. Had I failed to give him the security he deserved from the start? Ryan, my hand unclenched against his shirt. He rubbed his stomach. The rumble in his chest carrying equal parts confusion and hurt. All night I'd agonized over Ethan's necklace, searching my heart. Yet every memory that surfaced was tied to the man before me, the 5-year-old pressing sticky candy into my palm at the alley's mouth, the 15-year-old draping his jacket around my blood-stained jeans, the 25-year-old finally handing me roses, murmuring that love needs no justification. Tears blurred my vision as I wrapped arms around his lean frame. Why didn't I fall for you sooner? His breath hitched. We stood locked in silence until his quiet laughter stirred my hair. Lily. Did you know the first canned food appeared in 1810? I blinked up at him. What's that got to do with anything? The can opener wasn't invented until 1858. His lips brushed my forehead. Sometimes the important things arrive late. Doesn't mean we can't make them count. The truth of it shimmered between us like sunlight through tears. When I pulled him down for a kiss, the world dissolved into warmth and whispered promises. We surfaced hours later to a magpie's call beyond the window. The weather reports warned of rain. The swaying willows outside danced in golden light, their leaves fluttering like 1,000 green blessings. Ethan's POV. I lost Lily. The girl who stuck to me like gum on a shoe after I took that bottle for her, the one I thought would never leave. I dated others blatantly, waiting for her to give up. Ryan kept warning me about taking her for granted, his eyes betraying what he'd never say aloud. Yet Lily's gaze never wavered from me, until it did. The realization struck during her lunch delivery. Sunlight glinted off the burn on her wrist as she handed me the container. You shouldn't cook if you suck at it. I snapped. Then froze. Something fractured inside me even as new tendrils took root. She burned too bright, a hearth fire you can't approach yet can't bear to leave. When she finally confessed her feelings, I steeled myself against them. My parents' hollow love had taught me better. But the harder I pushed her away, the more she became my gravity. That scar on her wrist haunted me. The way her laughter echoed in empty rooms. How her stubborn hope mirrored everything I'd buried after Mom ran off with her intern. Now Ryan's arms wrap around what I foolishly assumed was mine. I watched them through the hospital window, her fingers threading through his hair. His smile brighter than any sun that ever shone on us. The canned soup she brought turns to ash in my mouth. First the Chase fortune. Then my parents. Now this. Turns out life doesn't care if you're ready. The things that matter always arrive, precisely 48 years too late. And yet, when I merely blocked a trivial beer bottle for him, Lily willingly pulled me from the swamp of despair time and again. Gradually, I began begging for her unconditional love by rejecting her, finding reassurance in her unwavering choices that she wouldn't abandon me like my parents did. That night at the gathering, I recognized the flicker of hope in her eyes when she looked at me. But my ingrained insecurities made me retreat. How deeply Ryan loved Lily, I knew all too well. During his 2-year absence, he never once forgot her. Desperate to understand Lily's feelings toward him, I impulsively pointed at Ryan. How about him? I waited, craving Lily's rejection of him and ultimate choice of me. I vowed that if she showed even slightly more affection, I'd rush to her without hesitation. Yet against all expectations, Lily agreed. I consoled myself, it was only 7 days. Afterward, she'd return to me smiling as always. If I held tight this time, everything would realign. But she never came back. Seeing Ryan at her doorstep, panic gripped me when I noticed the fading light in her eyes, the light that once belonged to me. This unfamiliar sensation of constricting chest and icy limbs later had a name. As Lucas told me, jealousy. I envied Ryan's capacity for fierce, unguarded love while I cowardly hid behind defenses. Fumbling for control, I used Emma to test Lily's lingering affection. But Lily stood resolute, never looking back. Each night I compulsively revisited her social media, scavenging warmth from previously ignored posts. For years I'd viewed her profile anonymously. But when she posted another man's traces in what used to be our digital sanctuary, bitter resentment drowned me. I expected remorse. Yet clicking again revealed the cold notification, "You don't have access." That night, whatever she pondered, I knew she'd let go. My heart twisted in non-fatal yet excruciating vines. Had Lily endured this torment for 7 years? What wretched creature I'd been. Frantic to atone, I later realized my unworthiness. On Ryan's birthday, I waited all night outside Lily's apartment clutching a necklace, its modest pendant perfect for her. Only at noon did I witness them returning hand in hand. Through the window, our gazes collided. Lily simply tightened her grip on Ryan's fingers, their intertwined hands leaving no crevice for me. She'd once held me with that same certainty. Now I understood life's cruelest truth: the sharpest grief isn't "I can't," but "I could have." For days I wandered ghost-like, Lily's smiles and frowns poisoning my soul. That final day, I drove 200 kilometers on the ring road. When cops asked why I swerved, I blamed a dropped phone. Truthfully, it was the unsent necklace sliding away. My desperate lunge to retrieve lost love met with screeching brakes and crimson darkness. Reaching blindly toward fading light, I choked. I was wrong. Come back? At the light's edge, someone smiled faintly, extending a hand. With tears in my eyes, I reached out. But by the time the dream dissolved into dawn light, only emptiness filled my palms. It turned out Lily truly didn't want me anymore.